And like I don't want to I don't want to talk about the acts and everything, but I more so want to talk about kind of the legacy those two guys have left. Like, what does their impact today still? Because like I remember watching the videos, and you can still go back and watch the videos. Like their legacy still lives on. It's like, what is the legacy that they have left?
Well, High on Life really was the dream. They wanted this, and they had a number of things that they wanted to still create. Like one of the goals was to have an actual fantasy factory, like a warehouse in Vancouver somewhere, where you had a group of people doing various things. So if you wanted to sit and edit and learn editing, you could do that. There was a group of people doing edits at all times. If you needed like a big green screen or a white screen, we have that set up in the other corner. If you want to like put a skateboarding ramp in somewhere and like do some skateboarding and film it, make a video, go for it. We've got the space for it. Like you get thirsty, there's a fridge over here. And like it's just this huge space where we could work and make our own videos, but we could also have other up and coming creators coming and learning and seeing what we're doing, having a space to do it, and just like growing. Anyone can come and grow and like join this community that we've established. That's what we wanted to do. The whole purpose of us learning and pioneering all this stuff eventually was to teach others and to share it with the world. And I mean, we had done that with everything we had learned thus far. We just never really acquired the capital to like buy a warehouse in Vancouver. Vancouver is a pretty expensive place. So that was still on the back burner of our goals. But nonetheless, High on Life, man, it was about feeling good and about, you know, not letting anything stop you. And, you know, the whole like dance like nobody's watching. Like don't care about anything else on the side. Like you do you be yourself, you have fun, you know, be respectful and courteous along the way, but like don't let anyone talk you out of something or tell you that you can't do it. Like Riker was really big on there's no such thing as you can't. Like you can do anything. What do you want to do? There's a way. Like you just got to figure it out. You got to learn it. The guys never stopped striving to keep learning stuff and to keep bettering themselves, and to keep growing and leveling up and 10xing. Um, so the legacy really is in simple terms, traveling and having fun. Just having fun traveling and not letting anything get you down or hold you back, to be limitless, if you will. The thing that's challenging really right now, and I'm sure you're going to ask about it, is what is High on Life now? What is it looking like? What's the status of our brand, of our page? So we don't have the team together like we used to. We did kind of come up with a decision that we're going to keep High on Life going shortly after the guy's death, but we could only do that for so long before other people are like, all right, look, there's so many crazy implications with the guy's passing. There's other debts that need to be dealt with. The parents are now involved with all this stuff. Plus, it's like the most heart wrenching thing because they've lost their children. We're dealing with coroners and with graveyard businesses to set all this stuff up, and it's just like super super heavy. Plus, you know, there was, going back to the end of the road trip, we had gotten into some legal trouble because the guys walked off the boardwalk at Yellowstone. So we had kind of done this huge road trip around the states, spent all of our money that we had on that, more or less, and then anything that we had left over was spent on lawyer fees because we needed to, you know, defend ourselves for why we walked off the boardwalk at the national park. And so we were really like pretty low on funds at the time. And then this Jet Setter Boss was going to come out, and then it was just coming out, and we started making some sales, and then that incident happened shortly thereafter, and so we kind of weren't able to keep up with Jet Setter Boss, and so now money was a bit of an issue, and now, you know, the passion had taken a turn for the worse because we're super sad about the loss that we're all dealing with. And then, you know, we've got people trying to fill in different positions, and, you know, Alexey and Riker could work at the level of four people. So to have people try to fill in their shoes was just about impossible to do. And then, you know, people within our group were kind of like seeing a different vision for different things. And we had a tough time coming to consensus and agreement on some of the things that we want to do or how we want to move forward. And so it became like a bit of a struggle amongst ourselves. And we kind of took a step back and said, okay, look, would the guys want us stressing over this or fighting over how we see this going? No, absolutely not. And I had spent a lot of time talking to some different people who were sort of mentors to me, and getting their opinions on things. And what it came down to was like, High on Life really was created because of the relationship that the three or four of us had. It was how we worked together and how we were able to find a new opportunity and then just hit it headlong, and how funny it was watching us communicate with one another and bicker and work things out and problem solve and play off each other's whatever interests or things. And we no longer had that. So at the beginning of this year, I mean, I was making weekly videos for High on Life for 3 months just by myself, which was tough. A, I'm not very good at editing, so like that was challenging. B, I'm not as fast. C, I don't have extra hands to help me film and make videos. And then D, we had COVID. We were on lockdown, and I'm trying to make videos and create content for a travel brand when no one's allowed to go anywhere. So like, yeah, obviously I did a few like, well, let's see local, let's travel around. I mean, I've got access to Whistler, I've got access to different mountains, I've got the ocean, I've got forests. Like I live in a pretty sweet place to at least give it a try. When it's winter time, like, I can go to snow. I can go to like 4 feet of snow if I want to, and it's allowed because it's within my own region. But it just became too much of a headache, too much of a hassle. The page had been sort of dormant for a long time because after the deaths, nobody was really keen on like being chipper and happy and like portraying this energy that we're supposed to be exuding. So it just went on hold for a while. And then in terms of it coming back, like, I have access to the channel, I want to keep creating for the channel, and I've only just recently started hanging out with other like-minded creators, and like a lot of them. So I'm under the impression that in the next few months I'll probably get things back rolling again. I don't know entirely what that's going to look like or how it's going to change. The legacy is going to be there, and what we want to achieve and what we want to present with our content is going to be the same, but it's going to have to be different characters, different personalities. Um, I don't know if, there needs to be a bit of a rebrand because of it, how much has changed. So there's a lot of things that I really need to sit and think about. And I mean, obviously, I've got the other guys still available and still around to brainstorm with and to shoot some ideas back and forth with. But also, a lot of the other people are, they're doing their own thing now. They need a source of income, and High on Life wasn't it at that time. So now they're doing their own stuff, and they don't have the time to commit to, living together and creating content on the daily. Like, it's just not feasible. So a lot of changes have been put in place and have to continue to happen before we can really get things going again. But like, I spent 15 years of my life pouring my heart and soul into High on Life with the boys, and I I don't want to just let it go. I don't want to just give up on it. I think it's a positive thing. I think it's changed a lot of people's lives. We've had the feedback that, people are having a shitty day. They watch our videos and they feel great, and they've shared that with us. We've had so many people share stories about what High on Life means to them and how it's affected them for the better. And like, I don't ever want that to change. I want to keep being able to have that influence on people and to improve their lives, or even just the day. If I make your day better with the videos that I'm making, I want to keep doing that for people. Like, that's what it comes down to. So I don't see it stopping anytime soon, like forever. But some changes have to be made, and COVID obviously put a big uh, wedge in the side of that.
Of course. I have a couple things from that. One, thank you for sharing that. Obviously, I know it can't be easy, so I appreciate you being willing to share that. The second thing I'll say is when with the space that was the original plan, I think that's just cool because from where we started this podcast, you were talking about how when you guys were learning acrobatics and stuff, it was in an open gym, which was so you were kind of making the equivalent of that open gym, but for creators. I think that full circle is really cool. The third thing I was going to say is you were talking about with bringing the channel back and maybe some new faces. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was always the long-term plan for the channel? Like I listened to an interview that you did early 2018, and you were talking about even at that point kind of wanting to settle down and having some new faces on the channel to almost kind of take that mantle. So like I think that's still within like it was within the plans with High on Life even back in the day, not just something that's being thought of now, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that Incrementum, the podcast?
What do you mean? Pardon?
Incrementum.
It was a I don't remember.
It might have. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
It was a podcast where you were traveling at the time, and it was like a podcast, but there was no mics. It was like I think you were recording on a GoPro or something like that, and it was literally someone you met on a trip. I'm pretty sure, and you recorded it sitting at
Oh.
like a table.
Yep. Yep. I know
Yeah,
exactly what that is.
yeah.
Okay. Yes. So we we had all, we were in our 30s when the guys passed. So at this point, we've got long-term relationships each that are getting more and more serious. We're going to want to settle down, and we can't just keep traveling forever. Eventually, we got to settle down, and we got to pass on the reins to the future generations. So what we were sort of visualizing was ideally having another group of people, maybe a little bit more diverse. It doesn't have to be like four dudes anymore. We don't want to put on any more of that like bro vibe, which we had for so many years, wearing singlets or like going to a sunny place and being topless and surfing or doing cliff jumping. And like for a lot of the time we were in hot places and we weren't wearing shirts, and it gave us this like bro sort of a dynamic. We didn't really want that. So we wanted to introduce new people that a had the energy and the passion and motivation and drive to like learn things and do stuff and do different flips. And let's be honest, man, kids these days, the flips are unreal. Kids are doing stuff that I didn't think was even possible. People can do standing double backflips on flat ground. Like, I can't believe that's even possible, but go on YouTube and people are doing it. So we wanted to find some people who were hungry, who were skilled, who could take the reins over for us, and we could just work the back end, and we could do behind the scenes, behind the cameras, whatever. That was the dream. So it was to get new people in one way or another. So yes, I just got to figure out how we're going to do that and who it's going to be. And there's so much that I still have to set up, and it's going to take a bit of time, but that's the end goal. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that because I've people who are listening to this might be like, well, you can't you can't have new faces, but I just want to put that out there. That was always the game plan, was to have those new faces on the channel.
Yes, that was the game plan, to have new faces, but it was also important to have the dynamic of personalities. That's what a big portion of it was. So you can't just be like a couple new dull people going on a trip. Like, you've got to be fun and exciting and entertaining, and ideally you can do some flips or handstands or whatever. That's the goal. But at the same time, it's like so much has shifted since the event and the incident, that it's like there was a long time where I couldn't really focus on what I didn't have a clear vision anymore, because I was just like kind of overwhelmed with emotions and things and whatever. So it's slowly coming back, and it's been a few years now, and obviously I've grown and I've learned and I've come to terms with a lot of the stuff that's happened. But um, I wasn't really the entrepreneur that the other two were. Like Ryker and Alexey were like so good at what they did, and they were limitless in what they could learn and what they could do, and they were just nonstop. So it's like it's really hard for me to try to keep up with what they were doing, because they were just too good. They were so hardworking and so solid that it's going to take a little extra time.